Hi, my name is Morven Gordon-Duff and I'm the Principal Dentist and Practice Owner at the Deveron Dental Centre in Huntly. As well as being a dentist, I'm also a mum of 2 children, and I remember only too well how hard it was having a little baby, especially how difficult it was at the weaning and teething stage. So I'm here today to give you some advice about teething, how to make the transition onto solid foods as easy as possible for you and for your child, and I'll also make some suggestions to you so that your child's diet is good for their teeth from the get-go. So first of all, let's talk about teething. So the bottom front teeth are the ones that will come through first, and they usually come through about 6 months old. But don't panic if they come through later than this, or even if they come through earlier than this. There can be quite a bit of variation in the eruption dates, and a lot will depend on how prematurely born or how late born your baby was. When your baby's teething, you'll notice that their gums will look quite swollen and red and inflamed even before the first tooth comes through. You'll also notice that they've got wee flushed cheeks, they might dribble a bit more, and they'll want to chew on anything and everything. You'll maybe even hear them grinding their teeth, and they'll definitely be a wee bit grumpy and clingy with you. So how can we help them when they're teething? Well, one of the best things we can do is to give them something to chew on, like these teething rings. We recommend that you use these teething rings, which you can pop into the fridge. Don't put them into the freezer because that will give them freezer burn on their wee gums. Or you could give them carrot sticks or apple sticks, but it's just really good to give them something like this to chew on. You can also give them Calpol to help to soothe the pain, or you can rub teething gel just directly onto the gums. Just remember to regularly wipe their face to avoid any teething rashes from developing. Now, as soon as your baby's first tooth comes through, it's really important to start brushing their teeth. I recommend that you use a small-headed manual toothbrush like this one and just use a smear of toothpaste. It's really important to make sure that the toothpaste that you use contains 1,450 parts per million of fluoride. Now, we'll give you a wee sample of this Childsmile toothpaste at your Childsmile appointment, which you can use, and it contains the 1,450 parts per million. Alternatively, you can use just normal Colgate toothpaste, which contains 1,450 parts per million of fluoride as well, and you can check on the back to see how much fluoride it's got. Using this normal adult Colgate toothpaste will get your child used to the minty taste of the toothpaste when they're still quite little. It's really tempting to use a child-friendly fruity toothpaste or a toothpaste that's got a milder flavour, but this just I find creates a problem because when they're older, around about 5 or 6, you would need to get them to swap on to using an adult toothpaste anyway, so it's best just to use an adult toothpaste from the get-go to get them used to the taste. Now, to brush your child's teeth, you're best to sit them in between your legs with their head on your lap and brush them from behind. That way it's easier for you to support their head. Don't let them chew the toothbrush, and at this age you don't need to actually brush for a full 2 minutes. You just need to brush for long enough to get the few teeth that they've got properly clean. It's a good idea to maybe give your baby something to hold on to, like these teething rings, because that can help distract them and get them to hold still. Now, when your child is a baby, you might notice that they start sucking their thumb. And if they do this, I recommend that you give them a dummy to suck on rather than letting them suck their thumb. Because trust me when I say this, it's much, much easier to take a dummy away from a child than it is to get them to stop sucking their thumb or sucking their fingers. One of mine was a thumb sucker, and it took me about 2 years of constantly nagging to get them to stop. So use a dummy and make sure it's shaped like this so that it's good for their teeth. Now, for weaning, we recommend that you don't wean your child any earlier than 6 months old unless you're directed to do that by a doctor. There are risks of weaning your baby earlier than 6 months old. For example, your baby's immune system at that age, their digestive system and kidneys are still developing, and so there's a risk of them developing IBS or celiac disease or obesity at that age. Now, there's also risks involved though if you do late weaning, which include diabetes, anemia due to not getting enough iron or milk nutrition from the milk alone, and you might find that their growth is stunted. They'll definitely feel lethargic and develop a poor immune system, and you might also find that they refuse to eat solid foods because they're so used to having a liquid diet. So wean them at about 6 months old. You should only look to wean your baby once they're able to sit in a high chair unsupported and that they're able to hold their head up themselves. Now, I recommend that you use a weaning spoon like this one, which has got a soft tip rather than a hard spoon, because that's much easier for the baby to use and for you. So how do we go about weaning? Well, first of all, it's important that you give your baby enough milk. It's up to you whether you give them breast milk or formula milk up until they're 1. It's just important that they're getting enough milk. Then at 1 year old, you should swap them on to giving them full fat cow's milk, providing that they've not got a dairy allergy, but you can also continue to breastfeed them past 1 year old. Now for the actual weaning, it's a good idea to do a mixture of baby-led weaning and purees. This gives your baby lots of different textures and tastes. Now weaning, remember, it should be fun. So let your baby play with the food so that they can discover the textures and tastes for themselves. That's all part of the process. So what are some good first foods for your baby? Well, we recommend mashed or pureed fruits and vegetables. They all give good first taste. So things like carrots, parsnips, broccoli, apples, pears or bananas are the best ones to try your baby with early on. Now you'd be amazed how much sugar there can be in some of these fruit purees. And especially in the fruit ones compared to the vegetable ones. So for example, see this bananas and apples puree, it contains 4 times as much sugar as this one that's got the broccoli, potato and carrots. And then this one here that's got peaches and banana, it contains 12 times the amount of sugar compared to the pumpkin, broccoli and sweet corn one. So my golden rule would be try to stick to the savoury veg purees rather than giving the fruit purees, because at that age the taste buds are still developing and it'll help your baby to develop a more savoury palate and helps to avoid a sweet tooth. Also remember my golden rule that although fresh fruit is good for you, as soon as you blend it, blitz it, puree it, cook it, stew it, the good fruit sugars in the fruit break down into sugars that are bad for your teeth. So make sure that your child is getting plenty of fruit and veg, but make sure that the fruit is fresh fruit, not pureed like this. Now with the purees, you'll want to start off with making them as smooth as you can and then gradually add in more lumps. It's a good idea to maybe batch cook and freeze portions. You can do that in ice cube trays, but don't go overboard because you'll be really amazed how quickly your baby will want to try actual foods. So don't spend too long in pureed fruit and veg. Quickly move on to actual pureed meals because that'll quickly expand their taste buds and get them used to different textures. I recommend it's a good idea to supplement their purees though with finger food. So what I used to do was I used to feed my babies their pureed food and then I would sit them at the table with an assortment of finger foods that they could try while we ate our meal. And I found this worked really well because it encouraged my babies to see how adults eat. So that encourages the concept of social eating and also gives them the chance to try different textures. So good finger foods to try would be things like scrambled eggs, toast soldiers, cheese slices, cooked pasta, maybe some slices of raw or cooked peppers, carrots, broccoli, banana sticks, carrot sticks, melty sticks, bread sticks or rice cakes. There's lots of different things that you can try. There are foods though you must avoid. It's really important you mustn't give them honey till they're about 2, and it's important that you limit their salt and sugar intake at this age. I would recommend avoid giving them nuts and peanuts in case this gives them an allergy later on, and also avoid giving them things like whole grapes or tomatoes in case they choke. I would say at this age it's also a good idea to get into the habit of checking the backs of packets to see if they contain hidden sugars. So for example, these 2 packets here look like they contain these 2 here look like they would contain roughly the same thing, the fruity porridge and the baby rice. But this fruity porridge actually contains 40 grams of sugar, whereas the baby rice contains almost no sugar. So just obviously the less sugar you give your baby at an early age, the less likely they are to develop a sweet tooth. So stick with this one. Another example would be giving them these carrot sticks, which you would think would be a savoury snack. But actually, these carrot sticks contain 2 teaspoons of sugar, whereas these cheesy straws contain almost no sugar. You'd think that these would be good for you because they're being billed as organic, and it says on the packet that there's no added salt or it's low in salt. But actually, although it's low in salt, it's really high in sugar. Watch out as well for different brands. Just because something looks fancy and is branded as organic doesn't mean that it's better for your baby. For example, this organic Ella's Kitchen spaghetti bolognese contains 3 times as much sugar as this Cow and Gate jar of spaghetti bolognese. So just be careful. I also found that baby snacks were often quite expensive and often they weren't any healthier than the normal snacks. So it's a good idea often to just swap your baby's snacks for the healthier and cheaper alternative. So for example, these strawberry and banana biscottis contain almost 5 teaspoons of sugar, whereas these breadsticks contain less than a teaspoon. Both snacks have a similar amount of salt in them, but the breadsticks are much, much lower in sugar and they're cheaper. It's best to try and basically keep your babies with savoury snacks or fresh fruit and veg. The teeth at this age are really soft and at a really high risk of decaying, especially when they first come through. So it's important to try and limit the amount of sugar that you give to your child. Try and also get into the habit of limiting your child to having sugar at meal times only, because good habits start young. We recommend that you try and reduce and try and stop using a bottle altogether by 1 year old, and swap your child onto a free flow cup like this one, like this Tommy Tippy one. To check if your child's cup is free flow, turn it upside down and the water will pour out of it. If it doesn't pour out of it, it means it has a valve and it's not a free flow cup, and that means that your baby has to suck to release the water or milk, and prolonged sucking can cause speech problems, and it can also cause the top teeth to stick out, which is then harder for us to fix. So only fill the cup with water or milk. Don't be tempted to start giving your baby juice. Just get them used to drinking plain water or plain milk. Yes, at first, of course, what they're going to do is they're going to spill it, and it can be a bit of a game. They'll enjoy pouring it on the floor, but trust me, the novelty of that will quickly wear off, and they'll quickly learn how to control the cup and drink from it properly. Now, you must never give your child a bottle of milk to suck on, especially through the night, or your child can end up getting nursing bottle caries, which looks like this. It's not nice, and this is something that us dentists can do very, very little to fix, and they don't look good until the teeth fall out. Now, did you know that milk actually contains the same amount of sugar as Lucozade and Iron Brew? It's crazy. But, and this is a big but, children must get enough milk to get enough calcium and iron in their diet, so for healthy bones and healthy growth. So we recommend that you do make sure you give your child plenty of milk, but give your child the milk to drink with a meal, and ensure that they drink it all in one feed. Don't let your child walk around holding the bottle of milk, or go to bed with a bottle of milk. And also don't let them sip the milk slowly over a long period of time, because that will prolong how long your teeth are exposed to the sugar in the milk, and it'll cause your teeth to rot like this. So, to finish off, what are my top tips for you and your baby at this stage? Well, first of all, I'd accept there's going to be lots of mess. Try and not get stressed out by it. Just try and enjoy the process. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Secondly, if your baby doesn't like a food on the first try, don't give up. Just keep trying and expose them to lots of tastes early on, and that will try and avoid raising a fussy eater. They can say it can take about 10 times of trying a new food before your baby will finally accept it. So don't give up if they don't like it on the first try. Remember that every baby is different. All babies will go at their own pace. So don't get upset if you see that other children are eating a more varied diet or better foods than your baby. Just keep trying. And as they get older and you're ready to move on to giving them actual meals, try avoid adding salt or stock cubes to the family meal. Now you can just blend it down and give them whatever the rest of the family is eating. That'll quickly expand your baby's taste buds and get them used to eating proper, adult sort of meals. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for taking the time to watch and learn with us. Please feel free to share this video with any family or friends that you think might be interested or might benefit from seeing this video. And we look forward to welcoming you and your baby to the practice soon. So remember, we'll see you and your child every 6 months for a checkup, as well as for a Childsmile chat. And remember, each Childsmile chat is slightly different, so that you'll hopefully learn new things each time you come to see us, and it's as much for your children's sake as it is for yours. Thank you.